Hello everyone, my name's Ethan. This is my channel Gringo Campesino. So I'm sorry, I kind of ran out of ideas for videos, so I haven't been very active lately. Also, it's been raining a lot, so it's been hard to find a sunny day to have a video where I can sit outside. But anyway, something kind of new happened, and I thought some other people in South America, maybe living on farms, especially foreigners, they might be interested in this topic. I recently got Starlink, and I've been using it about a month now, so I waited to really be able to understand my experiences with it, and it's been pretty good. What I did was I ordered from the Starlink website, so I believe it came from the United States. I believe it was the package said shipped from Texas. So it took a few weeks for it to get here because I live very rurally. Some of you that live in Panama, Colombia, maybe other parts of South America, you might be concerned that it won't arrive. Actually, on the website for Starlink, I was really pleasantly surprised. This is not the case with a lot of shipping from the US, but they fully understood that addresses are not quite as easy as they might be in other countries. So I put a number and my town, but I knew that wasn't going to be enough. So it gave me space to specify the brown house across from the stables on the main street, this and this and this. And I had it delivered to my employee's house because it's easier, because I can't get a package at my farm. But anyway, it was pleasantly easy, and I'm paying with an American credit card, even though I'm living in Colombia, which has made it really easy for me to pay from my American bank account. So as far as that process, everything went way smoother than I expected, and really quite impressive. It was really good. So I definitely give 5 stars on that side. As far as install, I didn't order any of the mounting solutions. I didn't order any of that. I will take a picture of the mount that I created and I'll add it to the video. All I did was I just found a piece of round bar that was the right size for the mounting, and I angled a piece of angle iron to it and I connected it to my roof. Super easy. They give you very, very simple instructions. You open up your phone and it connects instantaneously with the satellite dish, and it tells you how to direct it. So it will tell you to rotate it north, and it'll tell you when it's aligned optimally. So again, 5 stars as far as that. I didn't feel that I needed a mounting solution. I'm glad I didn't spend extra money on it because it was super, super easy. So as far as comparing to price, even though I'm in a small town, I do have an option for fiber optic cable. But the problem is I'm at the end of the line. So in my case, my town is in the mountains. So any problems throughout the whole region, I notice at my farm. So I was having, with my fiber optic, I was having generally, I would say during peak hours of the day when I'm working, I would say I would have maybe 3 times a month where I would lose some time of work. And so for those who don't know from previous videos, I do make extra money teaching English internationally, and that money gets filtered into my farm and living expenses. But if I lose a few hours, that's a big deal to me. So I decided to pursue Starlink because my my fiber optic internet was losing me about a full day, maybe a day and a half on average a month of work, and that adds up pretty quick. And so the price for my fiber optic in this area was about, well, in Colombian pesos, I was paying 120,000 Colombian pesos, which comes out to, depending on the exchange rate at the time, $35, $40. And that was for the highest level that they offered in my region. As far as Starlink, the Colombian Starlink runs me 150,000 a month. So yeah, that's maybe another $8, maybe a little bit less a month. But considering I was losing out on an average of full day of work, that $8 is worth it. So as far as speed, what I noticed in the countryside here, the fiber optic was still faster, but it was not consistently faster on every occasion. So my fiber optic would fluctuate a lot. So I would lose those few days where it was completely out, but there were also occasions when it would go down to like 5 or 6, megabits per second, and I could still do a video call and talk to my students, but it was not convenient. There would be a lot of pauses. The clarity was really bad. So that really wasn't losing me money, but it was definitely a difference in quality that I was able to give to my students. With Starlink, on the other hand, the download speed is pretty comparable. So I have Starlink Mini. Let me make that clear from the beginning. So I didn't pay as much for the full Starlink. The Mini has everything included. It has the router included, has a cable port, so I have it connected directly to my computer, so the Wi-Fi is not restricting connection. But the one difference I see that's huge, when the fiber optic was working well, which was still 90% of the time, my upload speed was really fast. My upload speed was over 100 with the fiber optic, whereas the most I've seen from Starlink was about 20. So the upload speed is really quite low in comparison to the fiber optic I had. I don't know how that compares to the US. I do know some people in some services in the US were telling me that their download speed is pretty much the same, but their upload is also bad like mine. So it's comparison. It's not the US, it's not Europe, so you have to take what you can get if you do decide to move to the countryside. When I lived in closer to cities, I would have to say here in Colombia it's not that much better, if at all, compared to what I was getting with my fiber optic here on the farm. When I lived in Medellin, I don't think I had a lot of outages, and this was about 5 years ago, but I don't think I had a lot of outages, but I did have fluctuations in the velocity, and sometimes I would lose students because of that speed and because of failures. On top of that, there's another thing to consider. Here in the countryside, I have more power outages and brownouts, where the brownout will just cut out the internet connection because the router needs to reset. That happens much more where I am than possibly the city. With Starlink, what I decided to do was I decided to buy one of those battery backups. I already had one for my computer, but what I decided to do is I bought a small one for Starlink. And so when the power does fluctuate, when the voltage fluctuates or the power goes out altogether, I have a few minutes. And I would say 98% of the time that I have power problems, it's a 30-second outage here. So if the router needs to reset, that could mean a few minutes, but the power was only out for 30 seconds or so. So it is worth it if you're working online. I think Starlink has worked really well for me. I will say that there are some things to consider. I've asked other people in the area who are using Starlink in Colombia, and one of my friends in relatively close to me, maybe 2 hours from me, she said it worked really well, but I've heard other people in more congested areas say that it's not as good, and I think that simply comes down to how many people are using it. So it is something to consider. I would say Starlink has, so far in 1 month, has been good for me. I kept my fiber optic internet for 1 month to see if it will work as a backup if I'm going to need to use it. But honestly, it's a waste of money because I haven't used it more than 1 or 2 times for a few minutes when my power went out. And so if the power goes out for me here, I lose both internets, but the fiber optic seems to come back 30 seconds faster. So really not much of a deal, really not much of a change as far as the advantages to the fiber optic. If I was to upload a lot, maybe if I was creating videos every day, maybe I would like to have it, but honestly, it's just not worth it in my case as an online English teacher. So for those of you looking for Starlink information in Colombia, I'm not an expert on the technology, but I can give my personal opinions. Feel free to write me in the email connected, and please subscribe. I hope, and if anyone has any ideas on videos, any topics that you'd like me to discuss, please suggest those, because I'm kind of out of ideas and I'm super busy on the farm, so I don't want to just experiment with ideas. But if someone has something they want me to talk about, suggest it and I'll do my best to do a video on it. So please subscribe and watch some more. Thanks. Bye.